Japan had no cheese tradition. None. For most of its history, dairy was not part of Japanese food culture at all. And yet today, Japanese artisan goat cheese sells in Tokyo department stores for 3,000 to 5,000 yen per 100 grams. This is how that happened. The morning milk. The process begins before the sun is fully up. At Mirasaka Fromage and at the small number of farmstead goat cheese operations across Japan, in Nagano, in Hiroshima, in Hokkaido, the cheesemaking day begins with the morning milking. Not because of tradition, because fresh goat milk must reach the creamery and enter the cheesemaking process within hours of leaving the animal. The reason is chemistry. Goat milk's naturally homogenized structure, its fat globules are smaller than cow milk and do not separate in the same way, means it begins to deteriorate differently from cow milk once harvested. The window between milking and curdling is short. Japanese artisan creameries build their entire daily schedule around that window. Milking finishes. The warm milk moves directly to the creamery. The day begins. The milk itself is already different from what any imported goat cheese was made from. It came from goats that grazed this morning on this hillside. The flavor of that specific pasture, at this specific elevation, in this specific season, is already in the milk before a single step of cheesemaking has begun. The pasteurization decision. The first decision in any cheese operation, and one of the most consequential, is whether to pasteurize the milk. Pasteurization kills pathogenic bacteria. It also kills a significant proportion of the beneficial bacteria and enzymatic activity that drive the flavor development of aged cheese. A pasteurized milk produces a safer, more consistent, more predictable cheese. A raw milk cheese, made with the full microbial complexity of the fresh milk, produces something with more depth and more variability, because the living biology of each batch is slightly different. Japan's food safety regulations place strict requirements on raw milk cheese production, requirements that most small farmstead operations in Japan choose to meet through pasteurization rather than raw milk certification. The result is a cheese that is safer and more consistent, but relies on deliberately introduced bacterial cultures to rebuild the microbial complexity that pasteurization removed. The best Japanese artisan creameries approach this as a cheesemaker's challenge. How do you produce a cheese with the character and depth of a raw milk product using pasteurized milk? The answer is in the culture selection, the handling of the curd, and the conditions of the aging room. It is a constraint that has produced its own creativity. Starter culture and coagulation. With the milk in the vat and the temperature stabilized, two additions are made in sequence. The first is the starter culture, a blend of lactic acid bacteria that begin converting the lactose in the milk into lactic acid. The acidification that follows is the foundation of every flavor characteristic the cheese will carry. Different cultures produce different acids, different aromatic compounds, different textures in the finished curd. Japanese cheesemakers source their cultures from France, from the United States, and increasingly from domestic Japanese suppliers who are developing culture strains suited to Japanese milk profiles and Japanese consumer preferences. The second addition is rennet, the enzyme that causes the milk proteins to aggregate into a gel. Animal rennet from calf stomach is traditional. Microbial and vegetable rennets are increasingly common in Japan for both philosophical and practical reasons. The rennet is added to the acidifying milk in a precise quantity, at a precise temperature, and then the vat is left alone. What happens next takes 30 minutes to an hour. The milk, which arrived as a liquid, slowly thickens and becomes a soft solid, a curd. This is the transformation at the center of every cheese ever made. The moment the milk becomes something else. Cutting the curd. The curd that forms in the vat holds the future cheese inside a matrix of aggregated milk proteins. What happens to that curd in the next 30 minutes determines the texture of every piece of cheese the batch produces. Cutting the curd. Breaking the solid mass into smaller pieces using a curd knife or harp expels whey. The smaller the cut, the more surface area is exposed, the more whey drains, and the drier and firmer the finished cheese. The larger the cut, the more moisture is retained, and the softer and creamier the result. For chèvre, the fresh goat cheese that is the foundation product of most Japanese goat cheese operations, the curd is cut gently into relatively large pieces and allowed to drain slowly. The goal is a soft, moist curd that will produce the creamy, spreadable texture that defines fresh chèvre. Japanese consumers, who encountered goat cheese primarily through French fresh chèvre before domestic production existed, brought that texture expectation with them into the domestic market. What Japanese goat cheesemakers discovered early, and what distinguishes their product from European imports, is that goat milk from Japanese mountain pasture produces a chèvre with the acidic tartness associated with the style, but significantly less of the strong earthy notes that European examples carry. Japanese consumers preferred this milder profile. Japanese producers refined toward it. Draining and molding. After cutting, the curd is ladled into molds, perforated forms that allow whey to continue draining while the curd consolidates into the shape of the finished cheese. For fresh chèvre, the molds are small cylinders or logs. The curd is ladled gently to preserve the soft texture. Rough handling collapses the protein structure and produces a grainy result. Each mold is filled, turned once or twice as draining progresses, and left at a controlled temperature for 12 to 24 hours, until the cheese has consolidated enough to unmold. The whey that drains from the molds is not discarded. In a Japanese artisan operation, it finds uses: animal feed for the goats that produce the milk, or as an input to the farm's garden and composting systems. The same Maitainai principle applied to every other Japanese agricultural process applies here to the liquid that most Western creameries treat as a disposal cost. After unmolding, the fresh cheese goes to salting. Salt is applied either by rubbing the surface directly or by immersing the cheese in brine. Salt does three things simultaneously. It seasons the cheese, it draws additional moisture from the surface, and it creates an initial protective environment on the rind that will develop over the aging period into the cheese's exterior character. The fresh chèvre is ready to eat at this point, soft, moist, mildly tart, with the clean dairy flavor of milk that came off the hillside this morning. The Japanese touch. What makes Japanese goat cheese Japanese is what happens beyond the standard European technique. At Murasaka Fromage, cheesemaker Masanori Matsubara makes cheese that responds directly to the seasons his goats are experiencing. In spring, when the animals are grazing on fresh green growth after winter, the milk carries a specific character, lighter, more delicate, that Matsubara expresses in Sakura Mochi, his springtime fresh cheese, shaped to resemble the Japanese cherry blossom sweet of the same name. In summer, Carré de Lavande appears, topped with a sprig of lavender from the farm. In autumn, Gyukushikaki, a washed rind cheese shaped and colored to directly resemble a ripe persimmon, reflects both the season and the Japanese visual tradition of making food look like something from nature. This is not decoration. It is Japanese terroir philosophy applied to cheese. The land, the season, and the animal are all visible in the finished product. The Niseko Cheese Factory in Hokkaido takes a different approach, incorporating wasabi and yuzu directly into their cheese production, creating flavor profiles that have no European equivalent because the ingredients do not grow in Europe. The technique is French. The flavor is Japanese. The result belongs to neither tradition and to both simultaneously. This is the creative space that Japanese artisan cheesemakers have found. The techniques learned in Europe applied to ingredients and seasons that Europe does not have. The cheeses that emerge from that space are winning international competitions and selling in the premium tier of Tokyo department store food halls alongside French imports that have been the Japanese cheese benchmark for decades. The aging room. Not all Japanese goat cheese is eaten fresh. The operations that have moved beyond chèvre into aged cheese production have built aging rooms, caves, in the traditional sense, or temperature and humidity-controlled chambers that replicate the conditions of European cheese cellars, where the microbial work of aging proceeds over weeks and months. In an aging room, the fresh cheese develops a rind, molds and yeasts from the environment, Penicillium camemberti for bloomy rind cheeses, Geotrichum candidum for the characteristic wrinkled rind of Loire-style goat cheeses, and dozens of environmental organisms specific to the particular aging room, colonize the surface and begin producing the enzymatic activity that softens the paste, concentrates the flavor, and creates the complexity that distinguishes aged cheese from fresh. A Japanese aging room produces a different microbial ecology from a French cave. The organisms present in the air of a mountain creamery in Hiroshima are not the same as those in the Loire Valley. The cheese that ages in Hiroshima acquires characteristics that reflect Hiroshima's microbial environment, characteristics that cannot be replicated by an imported cheese made in a different cave. This is the argument that Japan's artisan cheesemakers make when they compete internationally, and increasingly win. Atelier de Fromage in Nagano, founded in 1982 as the pioneer of natural cheese production in Japan at 900 meters above sea level, produces a blue cheese that has won awards in international competitions against European entries. The blue mold at work in that aging room in the foothills of Mount Asama is Japanese, and the cheese it produces, made from milk that grazed on Japanese alpine pasture, has a character that no French blue can replicate, because the land is different. The premium market, 100 grams of premium aged Japanese artisan goat cheese, retails for 3,000 to 5,000 yen in Tokyo specialty stores and department store food halls. That is between 20 and 35 US dollars for a portion that would accompany a glass of wine or sit on a cheese board. The price reflects several realities simultaneously. Raw goat milk in Japan costs 180 to 300 yen per liter to produce, roughly double the cost of raw cow milk. Because goat herds in Japan are small, feed costs are higher than for cattle on comparable land, and the scale efficiencies that bring cow dairy costs down do not exist in an industry with fewer than 30 commercial dairy goat farms nationwide. The cheese produced from that milk is made by hand, in small batches, by cheesemakers who spent years studying in Europe before returning to Japan to apply what they learned to Japanese conditions. The aging room cannot be rushed. The seasonal ingredient cannot be substituted. The milk from this morning's milking cannot be stored until a more convenient production day. And the market that buys it understands all of this. The Japanese consumer who pays 5,000 yen for 100 grams of Murasaka fromage aged goat cheese is not paying for a French import at Japanese retail markup. They are paying for something that cannot be imported, a cheese that contains this hillside, this season, these goats, this morning's milk. A product that exists nowhere else and can be made by no one else. The full system that produced it runs like this: morning milking at altitude, milk into the creamery within the hour, pasteurization and culture addition, coagulation and curd cutting, gentle ladling into molds, whey returned to the farm, surface salting, aging room where the environment of this specific location continues its work, and at the end, a product that is the cheese equivalent of a Miyazaki Wagyu or a Yamagata Sato Nishiki cherry. Not a food category, a specific place, made edible. Japan had no cheese tradition. And because it had no cheese tradition, the small number of people who built one had no obligation to replicate what already existed. They could take the techniques from France and Switzerland and apply them to conditions those countries do not have. Japanese altitude, Japanese pasture, Japanese seasons, Japanese ingredients like yuzu and wasabi, and cherry blossom and persimmon, and produce something that Europe cannot make because Europe is not Japan. That creative freedom is what makes Japanese artisan cheese, and specifically Japanese artisan goat cheese, one of the most interesting cheese categories in the world right now. Not because it is better than French chèvre, because it is different from French chèvre in ways that are specifically Japanese. The raw goat milk that costs twice as much as cow milk in Japan. The herd of 50 goats on a mountain in Hiroshima that grazes freely through the seasons and produces milk that changes character every month. The cheesemaker who went to France, learned the technique, came home, and spent 20 years developing a cheese that looks like a persimmon in autumn because in Japan, the food should look like where it came from. 3,000 to 5,000 yen per 100 grams. Not because goat cheese is expensive globally, because this goat cheese exists only here. The milk is Japanese. The cave is Japanese. The mold is Japanese. The season is Japanese. And the consumer who understands that pays for it without hesitation.